schedule. And Kevin, I'll tell you what, if you can win at Michigan State, you can win at Kansas State. You're not afraid to play in a game like this.
Mike Davis was the SWAC Coach of the Year, and here is who he has. The senior Madarius Gibbs is the leading scorer and the Conference Player of the Year. He is a good one with Deverell Biggs in the backcourt, guard-oriented team. We talked about Stanley Johnson. Take a look at number 21. That's Brandon Ashley. He was the Pac-12 Tournament MOP, the most outstanding player. Sean Miller is their coach in the 5 previous seasons, 3 Sweet 16 and 2 Elite 8. So he has put his fingerprints already on this terrific program. Lamar Simpson has been in 3 Sweet 16s, a regional final. Terry Moore has been to 2 regional finals, and Rod Dixon is officiating his 4th NCAA tournament. So it's Texas Southern. They won the SWAC tournament, and the Arizona Wildcats, who, Reggie, not only won the Pac-12 regular season, they won the Pac-12 tournament as well.
And it's going to be so important for the Tigers of Texas Southern to play with pace, but they're going to have to be careful. This is not a great shooting team, especially from beyond the arc, but that's the one advantage they have versus Arizona. If they can get their bigs in pick and roll and draw them away from that paint area, Dan.
And Arizona starts in the man-to-man defense, and they're about as good in that man-to-man as anybody in the country.
Shot clock is down to 8. There's an outside shot not going in by Chris Thomas. He's their top shooting guard. And here come the Arizona Wildcats, led by Johnson.
I'd actually say Chris Thomas is probably their best athlete on this Texas Southern team. But three-point shooting as Tarczewski gets the back end, and that's something Sean Miller is going to try to exploit early on, the size advantage that Arizona has.
That's the junior, man in the middle, Caleb Tarczewski for Arizona.
And he's got a tremendous size advantage in there. You're right. That's going to be a problem for Texas Southern all day long.
Madarius Gibbs down low. It's caught. Jason Carter can't get it. Dug out there by T.J. McConnell. He's one of the top players in college basketball and steals and assists with a nice spin move to the rack. And a rebound pulled down by Biggs.
And you actually couldn't ask for a better move there by McConnell. Nice pass by Biggs. Just, again, the size advantage in the middle by Arizona.
So at one end, Stanley Johnson had the block, and it was a beauty. On the other end, Rondé Hollis-Jefferson going to the line.
Right, here's Tarczewski, the big guy. He is able to get in there. Jason Carter is only about 6 feet 8. Reggie, you were talking about Stanley Johnson. He just smothered that ball.
And you don't see that very often from freshmen who bring it at the defensive end. Usually they're behind the curve, but this Stanley Johnson, look at his body, 6'7", 245, and solid.
Over on CBS, you see the final minute between Northeastern and Notre Dame. That's a good game. 3 against a 14 on CBS right now. All the networks at Turner. CBS, TNT, True TV, and of course CBS. Bringing you all the games today and throughout the tournament. Carter on top to Riley. On the side to Gibbs. Here's a senior from Vernon, Georgia. Biggs will accelerate and drive.
Beautiful move there by Deverell Biggs. That's good ball movement here by the Tigers early on. We talked about them wanting to play with pace. If you get a chance to move a great defensive team from side to side, and Stanley Johnson knocked down his first shot today.
And he has been, Dan, the most consistent three-point shooter for Arizona.
That's not too impressive. You know, block shot, three-point shot. This kid is really good looking, I'm telling you.
He's a freshman from Fullerton, California.
That was one of the knocks on him out of modern-day high school, was his ability to knock down three-point shots.
Look at Malcolm Riley. Plow inside, knocking people over as we take a look at Behind the Stats, presented by LG.
In Arizona, to me, we heard Charles Barkley in the studio predicting that they would upset Kentucky. To me, because of their size and their ability to rebound, second in the NCAA, able to. eat up a lot of glass, Dan.
Right, but this is a Texas Southern team that you can see from that graphic. They've won 11 straight games. Their game is taking the ball to the basket, and they've done it successfully the last couple of possessions, scoring a basket and then drawing the foul. They have got to be able to get dribble penetration.
There's a dribble drive right inside by Deverell Biggs, and it's knocked away. And Biggs, the transfer from Nebraska, turns it over.
Right, now this is a turnover, but this is the kind of turnover that I think you can live with if you're Texas Southern, because Arizona doesn't get the rundown for a dunk.
Arizona has won 11 consecutive games. Texas Southern has won 11 consecutive. Beautiful pass, and skying inside. Hollis Jefferson with 4.
But more importantly, how about the screen by the freshman Stanley Johnson, which allowed Hollis Jefferson to get wide open on that back cut. It was a simple flex cut.
The drive inside by Riley.
It's always the play before the play. And see this nice flex cut. Watch the screen here by Stanley Johnson.
Well, this is what you're talking about right here, Reggie. Just watch what he does. Goes all the way across the lane and sets the screen.
No communication there by Texas Southern.
With the miss outside, Malcolm Riley, as Tarczewski moments ago picked up his first personal foul. Here comes McConnell. The defense by Gibbs on Stanley Johnson.
And he's given up about 5 inches against Stanley Johnson and about 50 pounds.
And here's Brandon Ashley. He takes it inside with an easy corkscrew move. He was the Pac-12 tournament most outstanding player.
And he is a guy who can really play down on the inside. So another situation where Arizona has a big advantage in the post.
Gibbs on the perimeter. Tarczewski with a little brush. Johnson tries to defend. Riley on the doorstep, can't get it to go. And here comes McConnell again.
And it's those chip shots that, if you're Texas Southern, obviously the 15th seed, you got to be able to convert those.
Ashley again, right inside. He is carving up space.
Well, he is. He's just getting himself open on the inside, and there's just no ability by Texas Southern to guard a guy that size and that athletic.
Brandon Ashley, a junior from Sanford.
It's time for some fun.
Arizona by 11. TNT's hit series, The Last Ship, returns this summer with all new episodes. Don't miss the season premiere this June on TNT. So 1-7 start for Texas Southern. Arizona has started 5-6 in this matchup with the 2 seed against the 15.
Tell you what, if you're Sean Miller, you could not have asked for a better start, especially with an early tip time. Remember, most of these players are used to practicing around 2 or 3 o'clock during the afternoon after all their studies. As Texas Southern, another turnover here.
McConnell going up and was in on the play while airborne. Looked like maybe Gibbs got a hand on him, and the ball's out of bounds and a foul right there, and Gibbs picks up his first. Sean Miller and his Cats on top by 11 on TNT.
Needed 7 stitches from that, but that's not the part of the story these Tigers like. It's that after TSU won, Riley's teammate, Ladarius Gibbs, walked into the locker room, looked at a bleeding and bruised Riley, and handed him the MVP trophy award he just won, saying Riley deserved it more than him. Kev, Riley's going to have a scar on his face the rest of his life, but he said he'll also have that trophy the rest of his life, and that is how he will remember the brotherhood of this team.
As McConnell picks up a couple free throws. Rachel, he practiced for the first time after that fall just yesterday right here.
Yeah, they were worried about a concussion, took him in for scans, rested him for a while. He had some trouble hearing after that game, but he is fine now. He was ready to go yesterday, cleared all tests, Kev.
Rachel, thank you so much. A little more than 5 minutes into this first half here in Portland, Oregon. The 2 seed Wildcats of Arizona from the Pac-12. And the number 15 seed Texas Southern Tigers from the Southwestern Athletic Conference with the shot clock at 13. And newly instated Elliot Pitts, a sophomore from Dublin, California, with a miss right in front.
We're seeing this swarming Arizona Wildcat defense on full display here in this first half. They can switch just about at every position because every player on this Arizona team is long and athletic, including Gabe York and TJ McConnell.
as they fly inside with the drive and 14:23 to go. Dan, one thing about Arizona, one of the few teams in all of college basketball in the top 15 in both offensive efficiency and defensive efficiency.
Well, everybody talks about their defense and their rebounding at the start of the season. That's how they were winning games. They would make a play or two at the end. But as the season has progressed, their offense has really, really come on. They are a very dangerous team. And Texas Southern so far, again, we said they like to drive the ball to the basket. They just can't get anything at the goal.
As Elliott Pace just picked up his first foul for the Wildcats.
It was interesting when we had a chance to speak with Sean Miller and ask him about his team being able to play different styles, because you're going to need that as this tournament progresses. They can play big, obviously, with Tarzewski and Brandon Ashley, but also going small with Rondé Jefferson at that 4 position and Ashley at that center position. So you got to be able to mix up your styles depending on the team and who's hot or cold on the floor.
Jackson Cook right now is in there with Brandon Ashley chasing the ball, knocked away in the top of Arizona. That's a luxury, isn't it? To be able to play a lot of different ways. The deep teams like Arizona can do that.
You're not going to shoot well every single game. Your defense can show up, obviously, but you got to have the players to be able to willing to really guard down in this tournament.
4 consecutive seasons, the Wildcats have been in the NCAA tournament. 2nd straight for Texas Southern.
They just can't get the kind of dribble penetration they're used to getting. They do a nice job moving the ball from side to side, but eventually they have to be able to attack.
It's a good point, like right there with Gibbs, and out of bounds it goes. 6 seconds on the shot clock. The big dance is better when you're open to try. Show us you're open to try and go to CokeZero.com. 13:30.
Kevin, if you're Texas Southern, you take the ball inside. There's a 7-foot guy in there. There's a 6'10" guy in there. A couple of 6'8" guys in there.
Husan Ristich has now come in for Arizona with a good-looking hit from outside. The first 2 by the player that Rachel was just talking about, Malcolm Riley. Inside Ristich. Good feed by Stanley Johnson.
Unselfish play there by Stanley Johnson. Ristich just running the floor. Lack of communication by Texas Southern.
Too easy if you're Texas Southern for Arizona. Arizona, you got to make it more difficult for them than that. They've been getting layups and dunks.
Deverell Biggs was trying to maneuver on the side, and the foul goes on Ashley for the first time. Wildcats in the Pac-12, 31-3. Last season, they lost in the regional final to Wisconsin in overtime by 1. A lot of people are thinking, should Arizona win and get through here, move on to Los Angeles, that could be another rematch should Wisconsin be in that same trail.
Well, right now they have other work in front of them. It's hard to look ahead. Obviously, it's human nature to look at your brackets and you want that rematch with Wisconsin, but both teams have significant work ahead of them before that's to happen.
Yeah, but it's still fun to talk about.
Oh, sure.
Drives the coaches crazy.
What a nice move across the lane by Chris Thomas, who picks up his first basket. Thomas averages 12 a game.
And that's his game. We talked about that first shot that he took in his first half, being from behind the arc. He's a slasher. He's a driver.
That's Johnson putting it in. Stanley Johnson, as told you earlier, the Pac-12 Freshman of the Year.
Now that ball went in the basket, but that's the way Texas Southern has to play on defense. They have to force Arizona to be jump shooters.
Texas Southern was 22-12. Won that SWAC tournament championship by beating Southern. With a move inside, missed and picked up by Ristich.
Nice rotation defensively by Brandon Ashley, bringing that 6'9", 6'10" frame over to help out Stanley Johnson.
Big Shepherd is defending. Ashley tries to get it up, and it's picked up on the play after the rebound by Deverell Biggs. Arizona getting back well on D, and a reach in right there by the freshman Johnson with the foul. All right, we've got a timeout. 11:58 to play in the first half from Portland, Oregon. The Arizona Wildcats, the Texas Southern Tigers on TNT.
Number 23, Jason Carter, the Tigers.
Zach August with a nice game for Notre Dame. They escaped. Under 12 to go here in the first half. 15th seed Texas Southern taking on the number 2 seed and from the Pac-12 Arizona Wildcats. What a nice fight inside, but Gibbs can't get it to go. Well, there's some good games finishing up. We just saw Northeastern Notre Dame. And coming up right now on True TV, if you swing over there, UAB and Iowa State from the Big 12. That'll be a nice one. Final minute and a half. Malcolm Riley. He's put in a couple now, and he's got 4.
And that's that mid-range jump shot. We said to Texas Southern they really like to attack the basket. They want to shoot at least 25 free throws in every game, but they're going to need to be able to hit that mid-range jumper. And as you say, Kevin, Riley's had 3.
Well, they're not going to get 25 free throws versus Arizona's defense. I'll tell you that right now. I mean, this defense is too good and too elite.
I'm not saying they're going to get it. That's their goal.
Ristic with a screen. Roddy Johnson's had a 3 today. It's his first miss in 3 tries.
Now, if you're Arizona, you don't want to get away from taking that ball inside.
Riley knocked away inside by Brandon Ashley going for the rebound. And 11:06 to go. It'll be Arizona's ball. And here are some early numbers from this one. The leading scorers from both teams. And no surprise there, Reg, plus 6 points in the paint for the Wildcats.
Yeah, and because of the size of Arizona, I'm surprised that probably isn't even a greater deficit there for Texas Southern. But no assists for Texas Southern. Again, they're not a great shooting team. A lot of their offense comes from one-on-one penetration, driving kicks. You got to be able to make shots versus an elite defensive team.
Tarczewski, he got it from Stanley Johnson, who averages about 3 assists a game. And he's got 4, does Tarczewski inside.
And that's why they don't want to get away from going inside. They've got some weapons, don't they?
By Riley, who bumped into Tarczewski. That's a foul called on Arizona.
I'm wondering what this young man does not do. Leading scorer on this Arizona team, second in rebounds. You just mentioned, Kev, about 3.5 assists. We saw the block earlier.
So we've got Texas Southern at the free throw line. Dan, it was interesting. This Texas Southern team only played 10 home games. They played a lot on the road. In the month of December, they thought kind of molded and defined them this year.
Well, they were missing some guys. They had to play a couple of games without Mordarius Gibbs, but they went up to Michigan State with all of their lineup intact, and they won that game. Then they went to Kansas State, and they won that game. And you know, Mike Davis was pretty funny yesterday. He said they made him play one home game and he didn't want to play that game. He wants to take his guys on the road, put them in tough situations so they can be ready to play in games like this.
And Reggie playing major conference teams. Dan talked about 2 wins, Michigan State, K-State. They also came close to beating Auburn, and they lost there by 1.
Yeah, as well as Tennessee. They played Gonzaga, got beat by 40. And I applaud that. I like a coach that's willing to kind of go outside the box a little bit and play better competition, kind of builds character for this team as you see some of the wins and losses for this Texas Southern team.
Ashley was out of bounds for Arizona.
And the greatest thing about that is Mike Davis said his goal next year is to go and play these teams on the road in the middle of December when their students are gone. He said he doesn't mind playing on the road, but he don't want the students jumping up and down.
There's Mike Davis. He has coached 3 consecutive Conference Players of the Year. Of course, you may remember him with Indiana leading them to the NCAA championship game back in 2002. Biggs crossing over. Put this over Gabe York. Rebound by McConnell. 4 rebounds by McConnell and picked off right there by Biggs. From the wing and the slash.
Excellent move there by Biggs. Not only to come up with the steal, but he recognized T.J. McConnell was going to try to take the charge, so he shifted his position to go right by McConnell for the easy lay-in.
That's fun, Rich. He actually figured out what McConnell was doing, and that crossover dribble froze McConnell.
13 was the big lead for the Arizona Wildcats. Now by 10, McConnell. Ashley. And picked up inside by Hollis Jefferson. There's some shoving. You can see just here the eyeball test about how small this Texas Southern team is, coached by Mike Davis. We take a look now at the Infinity Coaches Spotlight with his nice resume. He's got a, by the way, he's got a freshman son. We saw him last year at the first 4 in Dayton, and we saw him practicing with the team at times, just kind of serving as a ball boy on the side. But he sits on the bench, and he is right there with his dad, and that's a terrific relationship to watch.
And if you didn't know it was his son, you would think it was one of these Texas Southern players because he's going through all the drills just as hard as Madarius Gibbs and Deverell Biggs, and you're thinking, oh, he must be one of the extra guards on this team.
He's as big. He's as long.
Yeah, you're thinking he's a little skinny, but maybe he'll put on some weight.
Oh, they were going through the lane with Thomas, and he was stripped of the ball. Some of that nice Arizona D. Here comes the hard-charging Johnson, who takes it right to the rack and fouled on his drive. Inside, who is the man that got in the way? It was a brave one because he saw that runaway freight train coming down the middle. It goes on Carter. Jason Carter.
But Kevin, the interesting
foul.
thing about this, watch Johnson extend. He sees the guy trying to take the charge, and he just jumps to the side of him.
Well, somewhere.
That's amazing.
Wow. Julius Dr. J. Irving is applauding this young man.
He is some kind of player. Freshman. Stanley Johnson with the first of a couple. Rachel?
Well, guys, freshman Stanley Johnson has a lot going for him. We can see here strength, great court sense, a pretty shot. And, oh, yeah, he can see the ball now thanks to some contact lenses new this year. Johnson told me he wore glasses in high school, but he was always losing and breaking them, and he never wore contacts because he didn't like sticking his fingers in his eyes. So he told me at the time the basket looked like, quote, an orange circle with a white thingy on it. But when he got to Arizona, they made him wear contacts, and they told him he couldn't practice unless he had them in. Now suddenly, guess what? He's a pro at sticking his finger in his eye, and he's also pretty good with that basketball. Now, he knows what it looks like.
Well, you're right. Here comes McConnell. Gibbs got two the other way. And he said that things open up a whole new world. Good report, Rachel. On the other way, racing is Gibbs. Some nice defense, and here they come. Rondé Alice Jefferson.
So, Kevin, you're saying he can stick his finger in his eye and stick the ball in the basket. But that's what the net result of all that is.
Not too bad. Yeah, he hit the net. That is the net result. But that, Rachel said that white thing. Here's McConnell with an open lane to drive.
Excellent play at both ends of the floor by T.J. McConnell. The quick hands to come up with the steal versus Gibbs, and the convert offensively at the other end. Nice, outstanding floor play here early on by T.J. McConnell.
Here's Gibbs trying to squeeze it inside. Texas Southern lost 8 of their first 9 games, but they certainly have rebounded well this season.
Oh, look at the quick hands here by T.J. McConnell. Second all-time in steals in NCAA history behind Breonte Weber. And then off the pick and roll, rejects the screen and just gets right into the teeth of the defense.
And that's what Arizona wants him to do. They don't need him to be a big scorer, but they need him to be a scoring threat. They like him driving to the basket. They don't want him passing up shots.
Drive by Thomas. David Blanks will check in for Texas Southern. Thomas now with 4. In full court here by the Tigers of Texas Southern. Yeah, they lost 8 of their first 9. That's quite a hole for any team, Texas Southern in particular, to dig themselves out of.
Yeah, but look at the teams they were playing.
Right, I know.
They're playing them all on the road.
We just highlighted that, Kev. Come on now. That's the reason why they got off to such a slow start. All preparing them for the swap.
Ashley with a good twirl inside. Brandon Ashley, the junior from San Francisco, second leading scorer, and he's got 6 today.
Arizona has done a great job taking advantage of their strengths, getting the ball right to the basket.
Nice move there by Thomas.
It's loose. And then a push from Riley from behind as Ashley was trying to secure the ball. The foul goes on Riley. It's his first. And Oregon, weather's been nice. Arizona playing well. Got now their biggest lead this afternoon. 7:13 to play in the first half with Dan Bonner, who's covering his 30th consecutive NCAA tournament. Hall of Famer Reggie Miller, Kevin Harlan, Rachel Nichols on our sideline this afternoon. Here's Gabe York.
Dan, you don't look a day over 25. 30th? My goodness, my friend.
UAB has beaten Iowa State. A lot of you turning back over to this game now, and that's the first big upset. So wow. A big one, 3, losing to a 14.
That is a huge upset.
Yep.
A lot of people had Iowa State going to the Final Four.
They sure did.
Well, now you're wondering if that winning the Big 12 probably took a lot out of them. That big comeback win versus Kansas being down 17 and finding a way to win the Big 12. Was that taxing enough on Fred Hoiberg's team?
And how about UAB? They wouldn't even be in the NCAA tournament except that they won the Conference USA championship.
save. Hollis Jefferson, he was a first-team All-Pac-12 player, takes it coast to coast and rattles it in for Arizona.
And Cam, to me, he's going to be the X factor if this team has a shot at winning the national championship, because he knows and understands his role as at the defensive end to rebound. But that's an X factor if he can score baskets there.
I'm so impressed with Arizona because they can play, as you mentioned, Reggie, they can play in the half court and they can get up and down, and their passing has been really incredible so far today.
Tony Collier just hit a three. He hits a lot of threes for this team. He's from Milwaukee. Just knocked it in. McConnell making a move. And a 30-second timeout taken. It's taken by the Arizona Wildcats, firmly in control.
In this tournament, you've got to be able to share the basketball. And so many scores on this Arizona team. Everyone is doing a good job of putting their hands in here and making sure everyone else is set up. And Sean Miller, that's his identity, obviously at the defensive end, but this team does an excellent job of sharing the basketball with one another.
And they're good shooters, too. They're sixth nationally. Ashley outside. This is Jackson Cartwright, who puts it in. The little spunky point guard. He's got a three.
They've got, Kevin, the reason they can shoot like that, not only do they have a lot of guys who can shoot, but they get good shots.
Yes. Oh, that was a very difficult shot by Gibbs. The degree of difficulty, in fact, off the charts for the SWAC Player of the Year, who began his career as a starting freshman.
Pretty good defense here by Gabe York. I thought he got to the spot, but that's how you take the contact right there. Look at him almost leaning out of bounds as he's got that shot off for the potential and one.
Gibbs is the leading scorer. He plays a lot of minutes. He never comes off the floor. What do they say? He has like almost 39 minutes a game he plays for this team.
I think that all stems from what Mike Davis was telling us yesterday. He went to Gibbs before the season and said, look, I'm going to bring in some competition to kind of push you. Your minutes might be cut a little bit. I took the challenge like, you're not going to take me off the floor. I want to raise my level of play where you absolutely are not going to be able to take me off. He's done just that.
Under five
Player of the Year.
Yeah, under 5 to go here in the first half from Portland. Ashley on top. York with a good spin move and a slip. And picked up inside by Johnson, who gets it again. He's hit from outside with the three. He's got a couple inside. He's got 9 to lead the Cats.
When he gets the ball that close to the basket, it's over.
Hollis Jefferson up high. They go and knocked away by the equally high flying Chris Thomas. The transfer from Marshall for Texas Southern. Watch live games on your Amazon Fire HD Android device, iPhone, iPad, or computer with NCAA March Madness Live. Watch now at ncaa.com/March Madness or download the app today.
Reggie, shouldn't the little guy be lobbing it to the big guy rather than the other way around?
They all fly so high, it doesn't matter how tall you are. It's got a jump you can get, and they all are jumpers. How was Jefferson? Oh, and he slams it.
How do you do here, Mr. Hollis Jefferson? Nice move on
Fearless,
Gibbs.
yeah, he's fearless inside. Well, how about this, Dan? Texas Southern began 4 of 15. They've now gone 6 of their last 8.
They've done a nice job getting the ball closer to the basket. And Reggie, I think they've picked up the pace a little bit, which has allowed them to score in transition.
With the drive goes right into the defense of Tony Collier. And knocked aside with 3:50 to go. Dropping a sledgehammer inside. Rondé Hollis Jefferson, the sophomore from Chester, Pennsylvania.
True TV, William Lee with the jump shot puts UAB up on Iowa State. They held on with free throws. Number 14, UAB advances 60-59. Back to Portland. Kevin, Reggie, Dan.
That crash you heard. All those brackets falling apart all over America. Thank you, Greg. Terrific update. Big game, 12 now for Hollis Jefferson. And the other way, Texas Southern with a Biggs drive and a foul on the Wildcats.
Kevin, that was like the second game of the tournament, right?
Yeah.
So everybody's bracket just got blown up, or a lot of brackets just got blown up. And speaking of blowing things up, Rondé Hollis Jefferson just comes curving around, catches that ball with one hand, and just tips it in.
So free throws here for Texas Southern. During conference play, the Tigers made more free throws than their opponents attempted. Again, Reggie has been talking about the triple driving action.
Well, what did Mike Davis tell us yesterday? We want to get to the free throw line 25 plus times. We're an undersized team, as Arizona 8 of 8 from the free throw line, 1 of 6 for Texas Southern.
So that's been a problem. They've been able to get there, but they've only converted to. In fact, Texas Southern and Arizona, they're both sort of interesting teams in that each team scores more points from the free throw line.
What a jamming side by Stanley Johnson.
Wow. Man-child, I'm sorry. I mean, we may be seeing the reincarnation of LeBron James. I mean, LeBron James had this type of body at his age. I mean, he just goes baseline. There's no help. And obviously the finish and the elevation and the athleticism here by Stanley Johnson. 11 points here in this first half. I mean, this is...
Now, Reggie, if that's coming at you, you're going to help? I don't think so.
No,
you're getting out of the way.
Well, I'll be signing his poster after the game. Absolutely. Here, Mr. Johnson.
Good heavens.
Well, we got David Blanks at the free throw line. There was a foul on Arizona. It went on Johnson, who picked up his first.
You know, I like what Sean Miller has done this year, because he said to himself and his staff, you know what, I'm going to put the 5 best players, start them on the floor. And usually earlier it was Rondé Hollis-Jefferson that was coming off the bench, but he's one of their best players, and really him and Stanley Johnson, they play the same position. But because both of them are defensive-minded, it has elevated this Wildcat team.
As Gibbs begins to drive, all knocked away, coming up on the AT&T at the half. Scores and highlights and the latest NCAA tournament news. It's all coming up on the AT&T at the half. We got 2:57 to play here. Big lead for Arizona, has gotten as high as 21. That's a good-looking three outside. And Collier, coming off the bench, has hit his second triple for the Tigers.
Kevin, he's there. You mentioned it. He's their leading three-point shooter, and they felt like he could give them some pick-and-pop ability, but
Brandon Ashley with the spin and the foul going on Texas Southern.
the Tigers' biggest problem is they haven't been able to defend inside, and you can understand that. They're such a disadvantage in terms of size that Arizona's been able to do anything they want in there.
Malcolm Riley picks up his first for the Tigers.
Well, I'm not quite sure there's very many players like a Brandon Ashley or Tarzewski in the SWAC.
Hey fans, get all the tournament action with the CBS Sports app. Scores, expert picks, projections, live video, and more. Download the CBS Sports app now.
Reggie, I know the answer to that question. It's none.
None. Okay.
Ashley, of course, hurt the foot last year, missed some time, and I think they thought, in the last month, Reg, that he's really began to have that regularity to his game.
Well, really, I think when he broke his foot last year, the title chances, obviously, for Arizona went way down because of his versatility.
Jefferson with numbers. Slicing for 2.
I mean, you want to talk about versatility, Reg? How about that?
Between Stanley Johnson and Hollis Jefferson, I mean, it's a highlight reel show out here.
14 now in the contest for the driving Hollis Jefferson for Arizona.
Well, this is one of your big guys. He just pushes the ball up the court. And how about that move, Reg, to change direction, slide by the defender, and lay the ball in the basket?
A little Euro step there.
Yeah. But the interesting thing is here, they can play fast, they can play slowly. This is a very interesting-looking team. I mean, they've got 48 points, and we still have 2 minutes left to go in the half.
They're impressive, as their seed would tell you, with a drive and a foul called on the Wildcats.
As good as Stanley Johnson is, and we talked about his defensive identity, I think Coach Sean Miller and his staff, he's gambling a little too much. Now, when you advance in this tournament and you go in against better seeds, you can't gamble at the defensive end because you're putting at risk the rest of your teammates. So there's no reason for him to try to go for steals every single time. He's too good, too strong, too big. Better to be a little bit under the radar defensively and just play solid defense.
David, he's coming out of the game.
He's gambling too much. He's too good to gamble.
Blanks is at the free throw line for Texas Southern. And the foul, Ashley, his second. Blanks from Barberton Ohio. He went to the same high school that LeBron went to. St. Vincent, St. Mary.
And we're talking about Arizona's depth here. They go even deeper than normal. They've got Matt Korchak coming in the game. Do they have any? They certainly don't have any shortage of big guys.
McConnell for three.
He missed that shot, but that's the shot they want him to take. When he has an open shot out there, they want him to take it. Sean Miller told him, in fact, if you pass up an open shot, it's the same as a turnover.
Tony Collier. And Korchak will defend, and outside it goes, and Blanks tries to penetrate. Anytime on the shot clock.
Yeah, swarming defense there, Kev. They really know how to collapse that lane.
Collier with a triple. It's not that Texas Southern has gone back melancholy on defense. Here's McConnell with a nice spin move, and he gets the deuce. Because their spirits appear high, Texas Southern are happy to be here, but they want to compete. I know they're not going to have anything less than a full effort in the second half. Good looking drive, and that with Gibbs will drop but will not count with 57 seconds to play in the first half.
Kevin, they keep sticking to that game plan. They take the ball and they try to drive it to the basket, and here they are at the free throw line again. So they've got some quickness. This is an Arizona team, and Mike Davis knows that Arizona is very quick on the perimeter, but his guys, they put their heads down, they're able to get by.
McConnell picks up his first personal foul. 4-year starter, Gibbs at the line.
And again, only 2 assists for this Tiger team, and they're really struggling from that free throw line. 6 of 12, 50% in this first half.
I think one of the problems, Reggie, is at their size, they take it in there, and there's white shirts all around them like a wall, and they can't see anywhere except to take the ball to the basket. So a lot of times you penetrate and pass it out for a shot, but they can't see once they get in there. They got to shoot it.
Riley checks out. Gibbs at the free throw line, who missed the first month of the year with an ankle injury. And that's when they lost 8 of their first 9. Then they went to conference play. Texas Southern did in the Southwestern Athletic Conference. And they won their first 5 games to start conference play.
Kevin, you got to tip your hat to the coaching staff, to Mike Davis and his entire staff, because when you start like that, it's hard to keep the confidence of your team up. But, of course, getting Gibbs back would help.
Alex Jefferson was trying to take it right down the lane. And shoved on the play. Foul goes on Thomas, who picks up his first personal.
I love this Hollis Jefferson, young man.
What about the style at the free throw line? We've seen it a couple times up
I like
there.
it.
It's different. Yeah, you don't see it much.
A little jimmy, a little shake. I mean, everyone has their little quirks when they go to the free throw line. Oh, what's wrong with that? That's nice. That's cute. You know, whatever.
Wait a minute. Guys who are at the free throw line do not want to be described as cute.
That's cute. Dan, that's cute right there. I mean,
if he finds out that you said he was cute.
I'm sure he's going to.
Okay.
Now look at this. What's wrong with that? Girls love it. Come on now.
Well, he was coming off the bench, and now he starts. His brother was a good player at Temple.
About those backyard games.
Oh, yeah.
2 long, athletic guys.
Alex Jefferson. Got 6 points to Jefferson, 7 rebounds. The Cats on the final half minute of our first half here in game 1 from Portland. Diggs. Nice fake. Rebound inside, claimed by Korchak, and then lost inside to Thomas. And then outside, Collier got the miss, makes the spin with the left-hander, kisses it off the glass.
I like the stick-to-itiveness here of Texas Southern. Not give up attitude.
Oh, that'll count. Book it. They'll review as they always do, but McConnell looks like he beat the buzzer to put it in for Arizona with a very impressive first half.
Very solid half here by TJ.
Back to you guys.
Rachel moments ago and Mike Davis. The point differential for Arizona this season was the 3rd highest in all of college basketball. And they're winning games by at least 18 points, and they're showing it here this afternoon.
Yeah, but I think you understood what Sean Miller was talking about. This is the 4th highest total an opponent has scored against them in the first half of the game, so their defense hasn't been what they would like.
This is Gibbs, and he hits the trailing Chris Thomas, who lays it in. Nice assist. just like that, Texas Southern comes out with a little bit of grit.
And if you're Sean Miller, it's all about picking up bad habits. And the talent is going to grow as this tournament grows, and you don't want to pick up bad habits when you're going against a team that's a little bit higher ranked than Texas Southern.
Johnson looking for it. Suzuki. 69% shooting for Miller's Cats today.
And what did Sean Miller tell Rachel just before halftime? He didn't think they were getting back well. Well, that time they didn't get back at all.
Texas Southern this season, 22-12, won the Southwestern Athletic, the 15 seed, second consecutive NCAA tournament. They've won 11 consecutive. He was just pickpocketed by Johnson. 3-on-1. Tarczewski, Johnson with the easy deuce.
Well, that's a good 2-on-1 there by Tarczewski and Stanley Johnson. Nice unselfish play there. And you talked about Stanley Johnson in that first half gambling. Good solid defense at one end, which turned to the turnover, which allowed for that 2-on-1 opportunity.
And here, of course, will take on the winner of Ohio State and VCU. That's coming up next here in Portland. It's part of the West.
What we're seeing early with the Texas Southern offense here, Kevin and Reggie, in this half, as they drive the ball to the basket, they're just not head down trying to finish. They're driving to the goal, trying to look to find people behind them for shots.
Alice Jefferson picked up his second foul. Malcolm Riley at the line with those 7 stitches. Rachel talked about that from a previous game that he had early in the contest here. He was in their tournament game last week. No concussion, Reg. Here he is playing well.
It's the tournament. You know, this is a rare opportunity, especially players at these low mid-majors, to get an opportunity to go against the big boys. So, Stanley, he passed all those concussion protocols, and he's on the floor here.
Brandon Ashley with a nice move inside. In March, he's been averaging 19 points a game. And Ashley's got 10 here.
Kevin, they told us yesterday they think he's back pretty much to what he was before, and he sure looks like it. He's moving very smoothly. He catches the ball well inside. He's very clever around the basket. Defensively, I really like the way he's helping out on screens and moving his feet.
And he just picked up his 3rd personal foul.
Well, look how long and athletic. Now, you match him with Hollis Jefferson as well as the athleticism of Stanley Johnson. And how are you going to score inside, especially with Tarczewski coming over late to block shots? This is a very talented, big, deep team. It's very well challenged, obviously, Wisconsin, Kentucky, and here out west.
Here's Hollis Jefferson, who picked up his 3rd. Now you're digging it as he was spinning in those long arms of Arizona, reaching in and knocking it away with about 2 minutes gone here in the second half.
Look at the shooting percentage here by Brandon Ashley in the month of March. This is a guy that's understanding his strengths. And Dan, you mentioned this about coming off that foot injury. A lot of those months, you start to think about it. I'm not going to be the same player. And I think that once you heal from that, you understand that you're probably better the player than you were before the injury.
And he's 4-7 this afternoon for the Cats.
I remember what Sean Miller told us yesterday. He got hurt in February. Basically, he didn't even get back anywhere close to a basketball court until September. So it's been a long, tough haul for him, but I'm telling you, he really looks good today.
Biggs to Gibbs and knocked away by O'Connell. Nice defense down low by T.J. McConnell.
That might be the 3rd time I've seen T.J. McConnell today just strip Darius Gibbs going to the basket. Him and Biggs.
We know McConnell was a first-team All-Pac-12 defensive player.
Look how quick the hands here.
Does a great job of getting himself in position, reaches in, gets all ball, and then keeps it from going out of bounds. You can't make a better defensive play than that.
T.J. McConnell is from the Pittsburgh area. And his college career at Duquesne as they go inside. And Zuski got it and was shoved around. Knocked around a little bit. Caleb keeping his balance. Gibbs picks up his 2nd personal foul for the Tigers of Texas Southern.
We won't get a chance to see it, but you mentioned the game coming up right after this, VCU versus Ohio State. Breonte Weber with the knee injury, second leading steal in NCAA history. How about T.J. McConnell going against Breonte Weber? It won't happen, though.
Alice Jefferson missed that shot the other way and getting 2 on transition. Deverell Biggs from Omaha, Nebraska. He's got 7.
And they're starting to do a little bit of work in transition. That's got to make Mike Davis very happy.
Hollis Jefferson lasering it to Tarzuski across the lane and a foul.
And when you're talking about Texas Southern in their transition, Biggs here, McConnell forces him away. That's actually a really good defensive play that's trumped by a tremendous offensive play by Deverell Biggs.
Collier picks up his first. 65% free throw shooter Caleb Tarzuski is at the line. Long time starter. Game 103 today. He had a terrific February, but his Pac-12 tournament, 3 games, Tarzuski only had a total of 18 points. Now the Cats have gone 14 to 14.
I'm not worried about points with Tarzuski.
Yep.
He's going to have to be more active on the glass, Kevin. I mean, for this team to be successful and where they want to go, he's going to have to rebound better than 4 or 5 a game.
Well, he averages a little over 5 a game. There's 17 to go here in the second half. The 2 seed Arizona, the 15 seed Texas Southern.
And I know Reggie tells me I'm not supposed to look ahead, Kevin, but maybe Tarzuski has Frank Kaminsky in his future.
The big dance is better when you're open to try. Show us you're open to try and go to CokeZero.com as Hollis Jefferson just picked up his 4th Arizona foul. He'll take a seat. Slithering. Oh! He couldn't get it. As they bring in Gabe York, who takes the place Rondé Hollis Jefferson for the Cats. Actually just picked up his 3rd personal foul.
Isn't that the strategy that Mike Davis explained to us? Get to the free throw line that gets the other guys in foul trouble.
Yeah, but once you're there, you got to be able to make your free throws.
Now that's true.
He had a couple numbers they wanted to hit. For instance, the number 25 was very important. They said, we want to make sure that we defend. This is Texas Southern coach Mike Davis talking. We want to make sure we defend for 25 seconds in a 35-second shot clock. The other thing we need to do is aim for at least 25 free throws as Tarzuski just swats it away on the shot by Collier. And Johnson the other way. So that's 25 is a target number for Texas Southern. Looks like they're going to get a turnover here, and they dig it away. Nice play by Riley.
Riley, aggressive defensive hands there. I wonder if they're going to give him a continuation on that.
They gave him an N1.
Well, they shouldn't.
No, okay. I thought he was pointing to the free throw line.
There's where the foul occurred. Now, in the NBA game, this would be an and 1, but this is not the NBA game, Dan.
No, the ball, to be a shooting foul in college basketball, the offensive player has to be starting up
bringing
with the ball,
it up.
the upward motion of the ball. Mike Davis is looking like maybe he wanted that.
McConnell picks up his first personal foul for 2 seed Arizona. Pac-12 tournament and regular season champions.
I will say this. I'm loving what Texas Southern, Mike Davis, in the heart of some of these young men on this Tiger team. And they're playing hard. They're undersized. They don't have the athleticism that Arizona has. But they're continuing to bring the heat to Arizona.
Timeout in Portland. Coach of Arizona.
A lot of Wildcats and Hollis Jefferson with some personality at the free throw line.
I like it. Again.
Or dance moves, one or the other, personality. Or
when you're 6 of 6, how are you going to hate on a shimmy? Come on, Dan.
Now, see,
you're not that old school.
No. I'm not saying I'm old school, but my point is he's 6 for 6 from the line, but he shimmies whether he makes or misses. So just because he's got 6 shimmies, that doesn't guarantee 6 free throws.
69% shooting for Arizona and up at 9. As McConnell dives, he's got 12.
Where McConnell, Stanley Johnson does everything in a spectacular fashion. McConnell does everything just workmanlike.
Very solid. Interesting. I had a chance to speak with TJ McConnell before the game, and I read, this is my last go-round as a senior. My message to everyone, we refuse to lose. That's the motto in the locker room. He's come out tonight with that refuse to lose attitude.
Collier misses the shot at the other end. Tarzuski with another rebound for the Cats, and here comes McConnell, who puts it, picks up by Tarzuski.
I like it. Now that's the Tarzuski that Sean Miller has been imploring his big man, the activity on the offensive glass.
But McConnell gave him the chance to do that by throwing the ball up on the board. This is, I mean, you say this is a bad shot. Well, not really. He's just throwing it up on the board so Tarzuski can get it. Very impressive, the Arizona Wildcats.
Conan. All new tonight after NCAA coverage, only on TBS. Kevin Harlan, Hall of Famer Reggie Miller, Dan Bonner in his 30th consecutive NCAA tournament. Rachel Nichols, we have you with us in this first of 4 in Portland, Oregon. We go inside with a nice pass, and it will not twirl in for Gibbs with a Johnson rebound, and he'll come charging the other way.
Very little easy for Texas Southern today.
Stanley Johnson's 3rd rebound here today.
How about that pass? And a beauty it was, caught by Pitts. Sophomore lays it in for 2. That was a good one at Georgia State and Baylor. Another 3:14. It's on TBS. That's coming down to the wire. This game looks like it's not going to. There's a beautiful triple outside by Jason Carter, who began his career at Alabama, saw some time with Ole Miss, his 3rd school at Texas Southern.
And the reason why he was inserted into the starting lineup today was to try to get into that pick and pop action to draw Tarzuski, who just got fouled, away from that paint area.
Tarzuski flying inside, foul goes on Carter. I mentioned a moment ago, as you watch a little pocket pass there by McConnell, I mentioned this is...
How about the last 3 plays for Tarzuski? The putback offensive rebound. The double comes and he finds Pitts for a wide open. And then the give and go and gets fouled and goes to the free throw line. I like the aggressive nature offensively. I understand they're going to need him more at the defensive end. But when he's engaged offensively, he's quicker to rotate over Dan to block shots. I just like what Sean Miller has done here in this second half.
The game's easier for everybody, Reggie, when the ball's going in the basket.
Yeah, you want to touch it. You want to get your looks.
Tarzuski with 9. This is Biggs. Outside to Gibbs. Kicked out of bounds. Knocked away. First round coverage of the NCAA Division I Women's Basketball Championship beginning tomorrow noon on ESPN 2 and 3. For more information, go to NCAA.com. Nice ejection on the Gibbs shot inside. Good defense.
Jackson Cartwright, the smallest player on the floor.
How about that? He's only 5'10", the freshman from Los Angeles.
2 seconds on the shot clock.
Fire in a hurry, and he gets it to go with the glass. Biggs with 3.
See, that's a play they should have been running all day, Kevin. With 2 seconds on the shot clock, the fall away, bank-in jumper from 30 feet.
And approaching 7 minutes gone here in the second half. 31-3 Arizona. Tarzuski, defended by Jason Carter.
See, he's got to do a better job maintaining his position when he gets the ball inside. Carter's a smaller guy, and he was actually able to push him off the block, and that resulted in that lost opportunity and turnover.
Darius Gibbs now with 9. He averages 14 a game. Jackson Cartwright, a lot of size in there. Tarzuski again. But they feed the big man on the doorstep, and he'll take it in.
Yeah, but Reggie, the big guy doesn't have to finish this one there. He loses the ball. That was the previous turnover. And then
he may have been fouled on that, though, Dan.
Well, but see, if you're that size, you're not going to get the calls. You got to hang on to the ball. You can't be looking for the official. And then on this last play, I know he got fouled, but don't you need your 7-foot guy to finish that play and have an and one?
Yes, you would assume that.
You would hope that.
You would hope that.
Jason Carter for Texas Southern picking up the 4th is Mike Davis. Rachel Nichols continues to bring players in liberally for his Tigers.
But you can be pretty sure that even in a drubbing like this, Mike Davis will use it as a teaching moment for his younger players. This is a guy who just loves being a basketball coach. So much that after his last job, when he parted ways with the UAB and they were still going to pay him for an additional year, instead of just collecting a check, he started pursuing an offer to coach in Venezuela. He said if that hadn't worked out, he would have offered his services at the high school level. We, of course, now know Texas Southern stepped in, offered him an interim job that became permanent. But, guys, he just feels the community is a great fit for him. His relationship with the athletic director is great. And he really believes he can continue to build this program so one day they can be a lot more competitive in games like this.
You know, they're based in Houston, Rachel, and here's a guy that, you know, has ties to the University of Indiana. He was a former high school basketball player in the state of Alabama. Now he's in Houston with Texas Southern, a smaller school, but he likes the challenge. And, Reg, that's a lot of these coaches. You know, may not to just the average pedestrian fan, why would you ever go to a school like that? But he loves the challenge of building, as opposed maybe to what he had at Indiana, where he had to step in the spotlight of some pretty big shoes.
They call that a lifer. He's a lifer in the terms of coaching. And to turn this Texas Southern program around and bring in players who didn't necessarily fit in other places and find most people, once they say, oh, we're going to the SWAC, I'm going to average 20 points, that's not the case. You know, there's players in the SWAC that absolutely can get it done. And I think Mike Davis has done a great job of molding these young players.
They're trailed by as many as 27. They're down by 20 right now on TNT.
They're not a great free throw shooting team, but tonight, and especially as they advance, they're going to have to continue to knock down free throws.
20-point lead. The winner here is going to play winner of VCU and Ohio State. That's a 7 against a 10. That's going to be a good one. Baylor is now gone, we are told. 2 Big 12 teams are down. That was, Dan, arguably the tightest, toughest conference in college basketball. 2 are gone on. We don't even have a couple hours gone in the tournament yet. That's amazing.
That's amazing.
Yeah.
That's amazing.
That's why you play the games, gentlemen.
Amazing. Right. Will shift and take it, and a rebound inside. It's claimed by David Weiss.
You get these higher seeds on a neutral site. Anything is possible.
So Georgia State will take on the winner, Xavier and Ole Miss.
And how about Ole Miss in that comeback versus BYU in the first four?
That was a heck of a comeback.
What a comeback.
Carter.
Now that kind of a game really has to help them in terms of their game against Xavier. They've already got a game under their belt. It's a tough game. I would think that has to give them a little bit of an edge going in.
Well, one of the teams coming up after this game, VCU, remember a couple of years back, they started in the first four and had that magical run. So Ole Miss trying to parlay that as well.
Well, not that it has really affected the overall score, as Carter is gone. He's just fouled out for Texas Southern. But Texas Southern has played Arizona even 29-29 over the last 12 minutes. They came out, Dan, with no blink whatsoever. They perhaps there was a lot of emotion to begin the game back here once again in the tournament against a much talked about, highly respected Arizona team. But they've kind of regained their composure in the second half.
Well, Kevin, you heard Mike Davis tell Rachel at halftime. He said, hey, I thought we played a little bit nervous. I think that's probably a good evaluation. But they have not blinked. You don't play all those road games that they played against those teams and blink.
So they were down 15-2 versus Kansas State.
Nice move inside to wiggle free by Rondé Hollis Jefferson.
Now, wait a minute, Kevin. Does he wiggle or shimmy? You know, make up your mind.
Shimmy. Let's go with shimmy.
I guarantee he's not going to listen to like Neil Sedaka after the game. This is a guy that really goes after it, keeps the habit going 24/7 with a nice drive across the lane by Malcolm Riley. He's got 8.
And again, Malcolm Riley, an undersized power forward. And that's what Mike Davis said. He brought him here. He's like, look, I'm a small forward. And Davis was like, no, you're going to create mismatches for us at power forward.
Who's going to make the most shots? Who has more points in the second half? If your bracket's already busted, I imagine most of yours are. Play the Capital One NCAA Tournament Run game. It's on NCAA.com and in the March Madness Live app.
Well, so Iowa State is down, or has gone out.
Baylor is gone.
Baylor's gone, and Texas is taking on Notre Dame as we speak.
Reggie, this is the first time since 1997 that two number 14 seeds have won. That's a long way back. And there are a lot of complaints that we had too many teams in the tournament with too many losses. Oh, nice move right there by Gibbs.
And I want to say, Texas is taking on Butler. Notre Dame has already advanced.
Notre Dame gets the winner of that game, so
I'm foreshadowing.
Yes. Well, the Big 12 certainly hopes for foreshadowing. You no need to foreshadow this guy. If he's out on the court, you better guard him.
Stanley Johnson, a couple of triples, 16 for the game. Johnson averages 14. Led all Pac-12 freshmen in scoring this year, approaching 9 to play in the second half.
And he shot that pretty deep.
He did.
Effortlessly.
Nice
good stunt.
And
Great
that will be
stunt.
some free throws coming up for Tony Collier, bumped into by Tarzuski.
This is clearly 3 free throws here. And this was the game plan coming in, to try to get the bigs, Ashley and Tarzuski, to kind of leave that paint area. And Mike Davis put a lot of pick and pop, smaller players on the floor here for Texas Southern.
Texas Southern at the line, highest ranking. It's been number 2 this year. They've been in the top 10 all season with their coach, Sean Miller, who is in his 6th season. And Rachel, he was the head coach at Xavier with a nice run there before this.
Hey guys, well Sean obviously has seen pressure. He says that he knows the pressure is on him right now to be not to be the coach that didn't get past the Elite 8. That's the position he's been in for the past few years. But guys, he knows pressure. Remember when he was a kid, he wasn't allowed to just play basketball for a father who knew the game, a legendary coach in Pennsylvania. He also did trick shots on talk shows. He was the halftime performer at NBA playoff games. He said, once you learn to walk into a crowd that doesn't really want to see you and perform well, you can do anything. So you wouldn't think the experiences of an 11-year-old would help you at an NCAA tournament game, but Sean Miller says he's taking that with him, and this time he's going to try to make it to the Final Four, guys.
Well, he's got a good enough team, and of course, when you take over that Arizona pilot seat, you grab the controls, and you know that you have a lot to live up to, because the great Lute Olson had so many terrific teams, and he's in our audience, and there he is live here in Portland, winning that 97 championship.
I'm getting ready to jump over this table, one of my arch nemesis back in my UCLA days. Hold me back, Dan Bonner.
Did he recruit you?
He did in Iowa, and then he made the switch and came to Arizona and recruited me, but my heart was with UCLA, and we had some fierce battles with Sean Elliott and Craig McMillan, Little Steve Kerr. I can't call him Little Steve.
Sure,
he's getting ready to be Coach of the Year, Dan Bonner.
That doesn't mean he's not little.
Good, Dan. There's that UVA education once again coming through. 8.5 to go. Oh, nice spin move to get open with the beautiful floater from Darius Gibbs, who's got 13.
Gibbs just doesn't stop. He continues to attack. I'm really impressed with how hard he plays.
The whole team has played hard for Texas Southern. You know, they knew they were going to be outweighed a lot today, and it showed, the 15th seed, but another valiant try.
You don't have a non-conference schedule against the teams that Texas Southern have without being able to compete, and Stanley Johnson has just been on fire from distance. That's 3 of 4.
He can stroke it. 19. He is 7 of 9. The good Reggie Miller form. And think about your favorite teams and get it all first. Download the Team Stream app from Bleacher Report. Arizona right now is crafting what might be the highest shooting percentage in their tournament history.
How about this? All 5 starters in double figures for the Arizona Wildcats. Great all-around team effort here offensively, as well as defensively. for Arizona.
Malcolm Riley with a three. Other way they come.
You know, and Reggie, they've got so many options in the backcourt. We've seen T.J. McConnell, of course, performing very well. Parker Jackson Cartwright has played the point guard. Gabe York playing the point now. This is a deep, versatile team.
They double Johnson. They go inside to Ashley with a foul called on Texas Southern and Malcolm Riley. Riley picks it up. He's got 5 and he is gone. Timeout.
56. Back to Portland. Kevin, Reggie, Dan.
All right, Greg. Well, you talk about that Big 12 conference is the best in college basketball by various measures and analytics. They are staggering mightily here in the second round.
You're right, Kevin. And Texas, another Big 12 team playing right now. They're down by 2 at halftime. So how quickly does the debate start? Is the Big 12 overrated, or was the Big 12 overrated?
Well, I just hope Ron Hunter did not celebrate and tear his other Achilles like he did in the conference championship. Hope he just sat on the bench and just relaxed and clapped his head.
Pitts picks up number 4. There goes Tarzuski. Well,
now I'll tell you what, I don't know anything about Ron Hunter, but if he can tear the other Achilles celebrating while he's already got a torn Achilles, then he is a much better athlete than I thought.
Texas Southern has had 2 players foul out. They've only played 8. Take a look at Malcolm Riley on the sideline, who had that
frustrating day for Malcolm Riley.
Yeah, it was, wasn't it?
Well, I mean, you said he's an undersized forward. Yeah. Definitely he's undersized today. He's trying to play against Ashley and Tarzuski, Hollis Jefferson.
Ristic. Another zone here by Mike Davis. Little 3-2 zone to kind of swallow up the bigs down low, force Arizona to take some of these outside shots, getting beat bad on the boards and offensive rebounds.
It's not a passive zone either. Obviously, the ball went into the corner and they tried to trap. So Mike Davis said he wanted it down to 10 with 5 minutes left, and I don't think he's going to get there, but his guys are still going to try to be aggressive.
I'll tell you what, everybody puts their hands in the pot with this team. They've got balanced scoring from tip to tail, and you can see how their starting lineup has answered the call. Every one of them in double figures this afternoon in a 20-point lead. Was there any question as to them being a 2 seed as opposed to a number 1, like many people are projected?
Well, Kevin, there's always those kind of questions, but what you do, you get in the tournament and you demonstrate what seed you are, and whatever they are, they're pretty good.
Here's Thomas.
The prevailing bot, if the seeds hold, he's going to get that rematch from last year with Wisconsin going down the wire, beating Arizona with T.J. McConnell, a shot to win it in advance.
Elliott Pitts hitting the cutter real nicely there. Hollis Jefferson responding.
And we've seen this all day long. Arizona doing a great job getting inside the defense and finding the open players. And Hollis Jefferson, among all the other things he does, Reggie, I'm really impressed with the way he can catch the ball in traffic.
Love efficiency, and this kid has been efficient. He now has, on 8 shots, 21 points. Not bad.
How about 7 rebounds? A couple block shots. I mean, this kid does everything at both ends of the floor here for Arizona. Nice move.
Good drive.
Thomas.
And he goes right into the cheerleader. So if they're going to fall, that's a good way to fall.
Better than falling into the camera.
That's right. Hits. Hollis Jefferson claims it.
Did he get hit in the face?
Looked like it.
I'll say this. They may be getting beat, but Texas Southern, not only their cheerleaders, but their band has been on fire here, entertaining everyone here in Portland.
Well, it tells you the focus for Chris Thomas there. He's falling in among the cheerleaders and he's yelling at the referee.
He's focused, Dan.
Yeah, that's what I just said.
What a thrill, though, for these kids.
What, to fall into cheerleaders?
Well, that too, yeah. It's pretty good. But to get to travel cross country like this, and see a part of the world, there's Ashley. Gets it in. We know that being in the Pac-12, that Arizona is up in the Pacific Northwest every season. But I don't know how many kids from Texas Southern have been up here. You know, it's for a lot of our crew as well. Yeah, it's terrific. Very hospitable place. Multiple times they've housed the NCAA tournament with the miss inside by the twirling Thomas.
Playing with 4 fouls. Hollis Jefferson doing a good job. Body control, still staying aggressive at the defensive end. Not minding those 4 fouls.
I've often thought once you get back in the game with 4 fouls, you're not helping your team if you're really passive.
Tip and try. A couple of them won't go. Finally picked up by York.
Smart decision by York to get it back out to TJ McConnell. Run some time off the clock.
They have just been one efficient offensive machine today.
This is the flex action here for Arizona. We saw that alley-oop earlier on for Hollis Jefferson. A lot of down screens and back screens here.
Johnson wanted it inside.
And he puts up a shot over Biggs. Nice retrieval there by Hollis Jefferson, who goes up as Arizona has gotten 10 rebounds, Rachel, out of Hollis Jefferson.
Yeah, and as he gets ready to go to the line there, I want to tell you guys, you are not the only admirers of the Hollis Jefferson shimmy there. Yeah. Kevin Durant last year, watching the tournament, tweeted about the theatrics. He said, "I see you, Rondé. Shoulder shimmy them peoples," was his hashtag. So Durant may be watching again today. The two haven't met, but he's glad he's an admirer of his game.
He's a rugged player, too, Rach, with his theatrics may not be the right word, but certainly his interesting movements at the line. He's, over the last 2 seasons, Reg, been the 3rd leading rebounder in the Pac-12 conference.
Well, I like what Sean Miller did with Hollis Jefferson. In the beginning of the year, even though he was coming off the bench, he told him, "I want you to get it done at the defensive end. Anything that comes at the offensive end, you're going to get on the offensive glass." Once the season started to progress and his numbers started to go up, more plays started to be ran for Hollis Jefferson, and you're seeing the fruits of his labors tonight. 23 points on 7 of 9 field goals.
That's his career high. He also has a career high in shimmies at the line, 10. So he's keeping track of everything.
Durant has a little bit of a shimmy when he goes to the free throw line as well.
That's a good point, yeah. That's a good point.
Shimmy versus shimmy, recognizing shimmy.
Be careful who you shimmy at. Kid's long and good.
This team is long and good. Stanley Johnson, Tarczewski, Brandon Ashley come off the bench with Ristich.
Remember what Sean Miller told us yesterday. We referred to this before, that when the season started, everything that they did, their success was totally defense and rebounding. And as their offense has come around, they have come around. Hollis Jefferson, what a day he had, huh?
That triple-double. No, not really. We're making up the shimmy. But you know, in analytics, the way analytics expand, they may come up with something like that. Another 3. Really put in by Stanley Johnson. He's got a great stroke.
Who was questioning this kid's ability to score from beyond the arc? I mean, what evaluator or scout was saying that? This kid has great form, nice follow-through, good balance on his jump shot, strong.
Well, you know, it's somebody who's obviously not watching the game during the regular season. He's 37% from beyond the arc. He made 37 of them. That's a good look.
There's the Wildcat band right there. On the other side, we have Texas Southern. These kids love being here. Great fans. They play all season long. Add to the wonderful environment of not only the tournament, but the entire college basketball season. Talked about Stanley Johnson a minute ago. He's now matched his season and career high in points. He's put in 22.
Now, if you're Sean Miller, Dan, when you start thinking about 3:40 left in this game, maybe emptying your bench and start foreshadowing about Saturday?
Well, I think that in this particular situation, the only thing you're really concerned about, you don't want to get any of your guys hurt in a game like this. Interestingly enough, that was the 27th and 28th free throw attempts by Texas Southern, so they hit their goal of 25. Unfortunately, they've only made 17 of them.
Tony Collier is going inside. Ashley just picked up his 4th personal foul.
There's T.J. McConnell out of the game, Reg. I don't think we'll see him anymore today.
TJ's a senior. More basketball for him to play. Transfer from Duquesne. Outside, Collier triple. Johnson is there with the rebound. He's collected 4. He averages 6. To play a little twister on the side there with Ben Ashley.
And so we have just seen that twister is illegal in college basketball.
I wonder how many of our viewers know what twister is, you know?
Well, you think the young kids don't know how to play twister?
I don't even know if they make twister anymore. I don't know if they do it.
That's what our producer Bob should get at the store, and as a crew, we should all go back to the hotel and see if we remember how to play twister.
You know, you can go back to the hotel and do that. I got another place I'm going. I'm looking at the length here of Arizona, and they've got a lot of big bodies. Here's another one they bring off, and we've already seen Korchek come off. He's a 6'10 senior from Tucson. But I've done a couple of Kentucky games, and I would never want to compare the size of Kentucky to this team, but there are a few teams that can match the length of Kentucky, and I'm going to put Arizona.
Arizona's one.
Yeah.
I would throw Wisconsin in there.
Oh, yes.
It has the size.
But notice the seeds, right? They're all 2 or 1 seeds, right?
Again, a lot of work by all 3 teams for this to actually happen.
Not comparing Arizona to Kentucky in all ways because of what Kentucky's accomplished, but size-wise, length-wise, there are some similarities, and they've got deep benches certainly at both.
Well, in my opinion, it's Kentucky and everyone else.
Well, we've had many brackets crash all over the country today. We've had a couple of threes go down as Baylor loses to 14th seed Georgia State. If you take a look at this, the West region, and Arizona will advance. They'll take out the winner of VCU and Ohio State.
How about this, gentlemen? We've seen the displays of Stanley Johnson, the super freshman here for Arizona. Ohio State has a pretty good freshman coming up in D'Angelo Russell, the Big Ten scoring leader as freshman in the country at 19 a game.
I heard Dan Dockett say the other day that he thinks, at least through most of the Big Ten season, he thought that Russell might be the single best player of that size in the country, and maybe overall as they hook it through with a nice play by Zon Ristich.
But it'll certainly be interesting to see him perform against a team that can play defensively the way VCU can.
A little spinner inside. It's Nick Shepard. He's out of Missouri City, Texas. Transfer from Long Beach.
And one thing to keep in mind about this Texas Southern team, Kevin, is that Arizona holds its opponents to under 59 points a game. And Texas Southern, even though they're down by 23, they've put 70 up on the board. So has not been a poor offensive performance by the Tigers.
I think it's hard for these college kids, really, and we see it in the NBA too, to hold on. If you get a gigantic lead at halftime, to come out with the same fire, focus,
sure.
and right?
Especially as young kids, your mind starts to wander. They're looking at the brackets. They know who's coming up next between VCU and Ohio State. And once you get up big, you start to kind of wander off a little bit, and I think that's what Sean Miller was telling our Rachel Nichols at half. He doesn't want this team picking up any bad habits.
You just had the VCU kid, not just, but about an hour ago had them watching some of the game in the end zone, and they walked to their locker room.
Reggie, it's an interesting point you make about Sean Miller, but isn't that a coach? You're up by 25 points and you're worried that your guys are going to pick up bad habits?
Oh, sure.
Do you think he'd rather be down by 25 points? I think that would be a whole lot more bad habits there.
Well, if we would have spoke with Mike Davis yesterday, and he said, and we would have told him, hey, you're going to score 71 points, he probably said, we're going to win this game if we get 71 against Arizona. Unfortunately, they're down 22.
Teams that advance on that day off will have a hard 2-hour plus practice. teams getting ready for the tournament, practicing all week. It's one of the nice things about this tournament. There's not a lot of lag time, but enough practice time. Hopefully the guys stay healthy, enough time to kind of recuperate, get ready.
It's certainly not like playing in conference tournaments where you have to play 3 or 4 games in 3 or 4 days.
Exactly. It's every day.
Well, if you're Sean Miller and his coaching staff and the training staff, plenty of water, you've got to hydrate, you've got to get a good meal, and most importantly, you've got to get your rest. That's the key, and it's kind of hard because you have all these games going on Thursday and Saturday, and it's human nature to stay up and watch all the games.
So this was not an upset today as the 2-seed Arizona Wildcats now go to 32-3. They've won 12 consecutive games, and they have fine-tuned their game to take on the winner of VCU and Ohio State here on Saturday. Big win for Sean Miller throughout after winning the tournament in the Pac-12